Hey guys, welcome to another video, and this will be move my little table over. Alright, hopefully this is not chopped off the top of my head. I tried to pull it up, and I know in one video it was chopping off the top of my head, but that's okay. This isn't some professional video making. Now, I'll be smoking today is my second to last Rockey Patel Vintage 1992. This one is, of course, box press. The last one has also box press, but it's a Toro. I mean, it's a torpedo, so it's kind of a taper at the end. This one was kind of dry, as you can see. When I tried to punch it, it kind of cracked, and I had to use my cigar repair glue, which is an edible glue, which means that normally if that happens, it means the cigar is a little dry. So of course I went back and checked the humidor, and both because this one came out of the 200 count humidor, and I have a top and a lower hydrometer, and they're both right around 70. So I was like, okay, well, 70 ain't bad. 70 is where you want it to be. I've been using my Zycar flat blade or flat flame. There's no wind today, so this one will work just fine. Like I said, it is an equivalent of a single jet flame, but it's flattened out. But yeah, this cigar is quite dry. It's a very, I would say, too smooth draw. And you can make your own cigar glue. If you go to any of the cigar farm, just type in, cigar glue, and yeah, it is a little dry. I don't know if it's the cigar or if it's the humidor. Doesn't taste bad though, and it's burning okay. Normally a dry cigar will burn like super fast. And normally you easily eat lighter, not light, but dry cigars are a lot easier to light and keep lit. My water. It is later in the afternoon, early evening, after dinner smoke. My coffee in my solo cup. So my last video, the nub video, I mentioned where I should have tape recorded my uncles who fought in Vietnam War, and these guys weren't American GIs. They were the Asian soldiers fighting against the Viet Congs. And come Monday, of course, my mom, who's the bearer of bad news, calls up. It's like, hey, your so-and-so uncle just passed away yesterday. I'm like, oh, man. If it's not windy or too windy, I do like this flat blade cigar. And if your cigar is not a too big of a gauge, this is about 40 gauge. This is a Churchill, by the way. The gauge is a little bit small, so it's more like a Toro, but lengthwise it's a Churchill. Yeah, this, if you can catch this lighter on sale, definitely buy it. If it's not on sale, these are like, I think, $77 MSRP, around there, 75, 76, and that's a little bit pricey for a cigar that you probably won't be using much, especially for if you have an inside smoking room, like some have, the glue is holding. I waited, after I put it on, I waited about 15 minutes for the glue to dry, and it's not coming apart. The glue is holding. You'll see once it gets moist from my saliva, if the glue doesn't come loose. It shouldn't, because I've had it done this before. So, and if you ask me what the glue I bought, it's some generic glue I got off of Amazon. It wasn't, or no, actually I got it from I got it from Cigar International, or it might have been Amazon, but it wasn't cheap. It was like $7 for a little, like it's not even half an ounce. It's less than half an ounce. It's like a small, dinky vial. Has a little ball in there, kind of like a paint can, because it's a very thick liquid. And you kind of shake it around for about 30 seconds. You know, let the ball, because it has to mix the glue and the liquid. But it works. But yeah, you can make your own. If you go on the cigar forums, they'll tell you can use what is that? The stuff that you use in preserving. If you do jarring, where you preserve, do pickles, and basically if you pickle vegetables, it's the additive that you put in there. The draw's getting a little bit hard now. I don't know, maybe it wasn't as dry as I think. Maybe it's just the head that was dried out. So it was my uncle who passed away this week. Another uncle, of course, this uncle is on my dad's side. Well, actually, my aunt. The uncle married into the family, but my aunt is the actual blood relative. And she's on my dad's side. She would be my grandmother's niece, making her my dad's cousin. So we go over, pay our respects. I think he was 82 when he passed away, and he's been fighting stage 4 diabetes for like the past 15 years. He's been going in and doing dialysis, and then the last 5 years, now this is what my cousins are telling me, not only was he doing dialysis, but he was having to get blood added to his system. And of course, my aunt has 5 sons. What are you doing, you dumb dog? Yeah. They always poop when they come outside with me. So she's got 5 sons, and of course the youngest is the daughter. And the youngest son is my age. And of course the oldest, or the older brothers, are about 10 years older than me. So I didn't really, get to know them that much, but I did get to know the younger cousins. Yeah, and these were the cousins that me and my brother, we go over and play with them. We would do Muay Thai boxing, kicking each other. This is what little boys do. Wrestling, boxing, kicking each other, pretending like we're fighting in a Muay Thai match. And I tell you, man, because in Muay Thai, when you block the kick, you block with your shin, and you kick with your shin. So if you have shin on shin contact, that hurts. Now I'm surprised, dumb dog. I'm surprised none of us broke bones and stuff. We played pretty rough. Of course, the older brothers, now the younger brothers, they kept clean. The older brothers kind of got records. I guess you can say they lived a thug life when they were younger. So I guess, yeah, the younger brother seeing the older brother's mistake, probably like, okay, I'm going to stay clean. And that's how it normally is. You see the mistakes of your older sibling, like, okay, I'm not going to make that mistake. If it gets too dark, I'll turn on the light and see how bright it gets. not I'll add another hanging light. You dumb dog, always pooping when I come outside. Now I gotta clean up after you. Anyways, so of course the call goes out, and my liberal cousins from California, yeah, the liberal cousins from California on my dad's side. So they came over. Of course I'm over there while they're there, and it's very interesting to listen to liberals talk, to you and among themselves. Of course of course over there, as you know, weed is legal if you get licensed. Because what they'll do is they'll get one guy. He'll get the license, because when a cop comes up, it's like the guy with the license goes out, talks with the cop. Go, yeah, this 30 acres is mine. I'm the one that's planting all of this weed. And for what they're telling me, the cops there are pretty lax. And what happened in Fresno, they kind of told me the reason you can't grow in Fresno anymore is that a few years back, they had a crooked sheriff with his crooked deputies. What they would do was they would go to these Laos and Cambodia, mainly Cambodia, not Cambodia, Hmong. Yeah, Cambodia is different, but there are Cambodian people there too, but mainly Laos and Hmong people. And Hmong are they are the indigenous people of Southeast Asia, because it was the Chinese, Russians, and South Asian, mainly India, Bangladesh area that migrated into Southeast Asia. But the indigenous people of Southeast Asia are the Hmong, and depending on if you're in Vietnam, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, they may be called the Aka, but mostly everyone knows them as Hmong. And when we mainly refer to them as the hill people, or I guess the hillbillies, or the hill people. Anyways, it was mainly in the Hmong. What the sheriff would do was he would go in, and after they've harvested all of the weed, he would go in and take it, and take all the weed, because depending on what the market is and how many weed he took, he can make several $1 million. And of course it was, he's like, hey, if you guys go to the Fed, or if you guys go to the authority, you'll go to jail too. And this happened for years until the Asian folks there got my head itching every time I do video. So they got fed up, and they went to the FBI. So the Fed comes in, they do a big investigation. The sheriff, because if you think about it, if I was those Hmong folks that was growing the weed, and like I said, technically they were doing it illegally. They'll have one guy, they'll have the license, and then you have all these all these people behind them that shouldn't be touching the product. And again, the police there are pretty lax about the licensing, but yeah, and that's part of the liberals too. Is that they tend to draw illicit or illegal activities tend to go to blue states, to blue cities. It's like it's because they're laxed on their laws. It's not that they don't have laws, it's just that they don't enforce it. So because if you think about it, so if you get busted, a lot of times you just pay a fine. You don't even do any jail time. You just pay a fine, and you're back out in the street. Because the sheriff was hoping that these dumb country bumpkins would be too scared of the authorities, and it got to the point they're like, hey man, we can't make our illicit living, which is what they're doing. So they go to the Fed. Fed comes in. it was a big bust. It was a locally it was big news. I think it made national news too. And the sheriff went to jail. A bunch of his deputies went to jail. And I think some of the folks that went to the Fed, they got immunity, or if they were busted, like I said, they just paid a fine, no jail time. And it is, as I said, it's very interesting listening to the liberal cousins talk, and because a lot of them are like, hey, growing fruits and vegetables is okay money, but if you want to make the big dollar, then you grow weed. And over there right now, it's nothing with the Asians growing weed. It's the Chinese, Laos, Vietnamese, and the Cambodians. And right now the Cambodians they're not Cambodian, the Hmong. Sorry, Cambodian folks, it's the Hmong, and the Hmong are the one that are really taking off. So what happened after that is that the government the government in Fresno said, hey, no one, Fresno's off limit. We're not allowing anyone to grow weed here. It's I guess Fresno is dry, or not dry, it would be, I guess, a weed-free city. It's kind of like alcohol. You can't sell it there. You can't grow it there, but you can possess it. What's happening right now, and I didn't even know about this until I talked to them, is that all of these states that are allowing weed, they're only allowing possession and usage, but you can't grow it. And no, you can't even grow one plant. So what's happening right now is that there's a huge demand for weed. So everybody's trying to get in on it, and of course now they're all talking to the Texas relatives, and listen to them. Like I said, it seems that the authorities over there are very lax on the rules and regulation. Didn't have any cousins. I don't think I have any Portland relatives, but yeah, all of the California residents. Relatives came in, I have one cousin, he's talking about, man, you know what, and this is how liberals think, he's like, no, since I make all this money off of this weed, when I come here to Dallas, or when I'm driving around over there in California, if I see a homeless person or a person begging, I'll give them $100 or $200. And he mentioned, hey, last time here I came to Dallas, there was because here in Dallas, Dallas may have, and I mentioned in the other video, it may have a Republican mayor. Dallas is a freaking liberal city. And it's going to take time. The dog tearing things up. It's going to take time to turn the tide. So, like in Dallas, pretty much every exit off of a main freeway has a beggar there. I don't give them any money. So all those bastards don't deserve it. They're just there because they're lazy and they're trying to make money off of people's emotions. Yeah, just about every exit off of the main highway, you'll have beggars on the corner, right there at the red light, right after the exit. I ignore them, but this cousin from California's like, yeah, last time I was here, of course he's boasting about it. I gave 100 to this beggar, 200 to that beggar, and I kind of keep to myself. I don't say anything to them because I don't want to get into an argument. They're the guests, so I kind of keep quiet. Because I was thinking, you know what? Taking that 100, 200 to a food bank, Salvation Army, the the Red Cross or just some charity, an orphanage, would have done that money 10 times better than just giving it to some homeless guy on the side of the road. He's just gonna take that money and go blow it on alcohol and drugs. But that's the liberal mindset. You know, his thinking is, hey, look at me, I'm doing good. You know, I'm making all this money. You know, now I'm you know, I'm giving some of it away as a donation, which, you know, I was like, okay, whatever, man. Now, one thing he mentioned, which was interesting, was that is that you know, the Chinese are coming in and they're taking over. And what the Chinese are doing is that they're in the background controlling, and in the forefront, like the politicians, the people who and this is basically, you know, how lobbying works. Is, you know, you're in the background, then you have someone, you know, the politician that's doing the passing the law and stuff. But that's what he's saying. You know, the Asians who have the money and stuff, they're in the background, and then they got the white man, you know, in the front, you know, running for office and stuff like that. You know, like the Nancy Pelosi, the Kamala Harris at the higher level, and at the city level, council level. It's like, okay, we don't need, you know, to eventually, and it's slowly happening, eventually they're going to want to put a Chinese person or some sort of Asian person out there. But for right now, they're putting the white man out in the front, and they're in the back controlling. Oh, the heck? That's cool. Squirrels? Yeah, squirrels. Well, luckily the dog's not out here, boy. They probably go crazy. Yeah, so squirrels chasing each other in the tree. Yeah, I remember younger going squirrel hunting with my dad out of the tree with 22s and pellet gun. Yes, pellet guns are no joke, man. They if you shoot someone in the head, you could kill them. That will go right through. But pellet guns, 22s. They even tried slingshots. So I didn't say much. I just let them talk, sort of nodded along. Yeah, oh, okay, you know, yeah. Let me pause the video and let me go turn on the light and see if the illumination's enough. So pause the video. So I'm back. So I got the floodlight over there, and so I have, I guess, the left side of my face illuminated. I forgot to unpause the video, so for like the last 5 minutes I've been talking into an empty air. Yeah, so most of my cousins, some of them flew in. Some of them drove. One cousin said he drove from Fresno straight to Dallas. No rest, so it's like a one day. You know, if you leave at 6 in the morning, you'll make it here by. It's about an 18-hour drive. So if you leave at 6 in the morning, you'll make it here by midnight. The next day. And of course, talking to him, he's like, man, I can't sleep, man. I'm still hyped up. During that drive, I went through about five cans of Red Bull. And I was like, dude, I'm surprised you didn't have a heart attack. This wasn't a young guy either. He was around my age. You know, he actually was older. Squirrels? People? Okay. Yeah, I can. Now, if I said I can actually see my driveway. It's one of those. If someone comes over, which shouldn't be, because I'm normally not expecting anybody today. All the cousins already gone back after the funeral. Yeah, so these liberal cousins that I mentioned in my videos, yeah, they're on my dad's side. They're in California. A lot of them like the liberal mindset. They like being able to. It's kind of like the French laissez-faire, where it's like they do what they want to do. No, they want the government out of their way, but also they want government intervention. Kind of like one cousin, one of his scam is to what he'll do is he'll hire people under the table where it's tax free. Then on top of that, he'll show them how to get on welfare. So he's like, okay, you're working under the table, so there's no tax. He doesn't pay tax, and then he shows these people how to, and he's getting illegals to do this too. So I was looking at him like, man, dude, well, you got more coming your way. So what he'll do is he'll show them how to get on welfare. Same thing. What he'll do is he'll go to a doctor's office or a hospital, and he'll take these illegals, about 10 or 20 of them, and cut a deal with the hospital. It's like, hey man, here's 10 to 20 welfare recipients that I'm bringing to you. Give me a 10% cut of the Medicaid or the welfare, or whatever it is, that Medicaid. And he'll do the same thing with pharmacy. He'll take the 10 or 20 people that's on welfare to the pharmacy. Hey, I bought you some customers, give me a 10% cut. They're telling me all these things, and I'm thinking to myself, once again, I'm not saying anything to them. I'm thinking to myself, you know what? It's the reason why blue states are in such a shit. It's because of shitheads like you that is scamming the system. Now, I'm thinking that to myself. I'm not saying anything to them, but I mean, when you get to talk to the people who say that they are liberals, not the people from California say, yeah, I am a conservative, I live in California. And if you talk to the ones who actually say, hey, they're liberals, they support liberal policies and support liberal politicians, they put people in office like Nancy Pelosi and what's that, Pocahontas, and oh damn, what's her name? Maxine Waters, I think it's her name. That lady that's been, was it District 14 out of LA that she represents, that's for like the last 30 years, which is a shithole. Yeah, they support people like that. So when you talk to liberals and you kind of get their mindset, you think to yourself, okay man, this is why liberal cities, liberal states, blue cities are the shithole that they are, because they got shithole people. Or they got shithead people living there scamming off the system. So yeah, they're mostly back in their California, the shithole, and back there scamming the government. And of course, when the government has no money, they won't come to Texas. I kind of asked them, like, would you guys consider moving to Texas? They're like, nah, man, Texas has got too much Texas law. Texas got too much law, and they got too much this and that, and that they don't allow weed. I think Texas eventually will allow the possession and usage of weed, but not the growing of it. mainly because of the lobbyists from the states that allows growing. They're like, hey man, we don't want competition. The same with the gambling. All of the casinos in Oklahoma, like the Choctaw and WinStar, are owned by Texas billionaires, and of course they because every year in Texas, the Senate bill will come up to allow gambling in Texas. Of course, the lobbyists get their hands on the representatives. Hey, vote against it. Here's $100,000. Thank you for your vote against. And I'm neither for nor against it because I don't really gamble. Yeah, speaking of gambling, these cousins, they talk about making millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands or millions off of their endeavor, I guess, legal or illegal. And I'm asking them, where's all this money? And what's happened is that these guys, they make lots of money, but they gamble it all away because California, especially Sacramento, every convenience store, restaurants, they and I didn't know this. They got casinos. They got little slot machines pretty much every corner store. Restaurants got slot machines, and they allow gambling. Pretty much the state of California. And a lot of these gambling parlors that are opening up are being opened by the Chinese. So they're taking all of their ill-gotten gain and gambling it away, giving it to the Chinese. And that's pretty much what I told them. So you guys taking all your money. Now this I actually said to them. So you're taking all of your money that you're making, all of this hundred thousands and millions, and giving it to the Chinese, pretty much. One guy's like, yeah, man, my damn, he said, my damn wife, every time I give her money, she goes and gambles it away, that same day. Like, don't give her the money. He was like, man, I make $300,000-$400,000. We have no money in the bank. It's like, well, dude. Of course, that's $300,000-$400,000 is not much in California to begin with. You got to make. No, it also depends on how you live too. If you live like a pauper, $300,000-$400,000 in California is plenty for you. But not these guys. Yeah, that's one of their problem over there too in shithole California. Is that everybody there is gambling away their money. They're either drugged up, homeless, or they're gambling away their fortune. That pretty much sums up, a liberal state. All this illicit stuff that they're doing. Now, when it comes to weed, I am liberal. I'm all for go ahead and just making it legal at the federal level, and then just let the states decide how they want to tax it or how they want to regulate it. Yeah, so don't go making $500,000 and then gambling it away. That's just stupid. But that's these people's mindset. Because people jokingly say, "Hey, man, gambling is in Asians' DNA." And I've been there, I've done that. I'm not going to say I'm innocent of it. When I was in my 20s, I know I did some gambling, but I've soon figured out that, hey, this is not for me. I'm just wasting my money. I'm not having any fun. So I gave it up. So yeah, I'm not gonna be the guy on the high horse when it comes to gambling. So that's that. One last thing I'll touch up on is the I guess last week or recently that the Santa Fe shooting, the attempted school shooting. Yeah, the Santa Fe school shooting, the attempted school shooting here in Texas. As for the one here in Texas, when they showed the picture, at first I thought it was a girl. I was like, what the heck, girls are now doing school shooting? What the hell, man? And it turns out it was a soy boy. And I'll reiterate, that this is feminists doing along with democratic policies that are creating these terrorists that are shooting up schools, malls, churches, public places. Yeah, because if you look at the picture of that guy that bought the shotgun to the school here in Texas, yeah, I mean, if you look at his the I don't know if it's a mugshot, the photo. That boy had soy written all over him, because I thought it was a girl at first, and I was like, okay, that's, or he looked more feminine, kind of androgynous, where you couldn't tell if it was a guy or a girl. Yeah, because driving around, I was kind of like, what are all these flags that half snapped? What's going on? Was there another school shooting or mall shooting, church shooting? Yeah, pretty much. That's what it was. That shows how much I keep it with the news. When I'm going to see these flags, I have staff. I check. Okay, is today Memorial Day or something day? Rinsing up my mouth. Come on, now, tablet. Yeah, I'm also using the light from the tablet too to kind of illuminate me a little bit. As for the Santa Fe one, I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty sure that one has the hallmarks of a incel soy boy, single mother household. Probably got bullied, probably couldn't take rejection, and decided to go and shoot some innocent kids. Now that one, I think, I have to look into. I think that one, they were able to capture the kid, or again, I gotta look into it. I just kind of saw the news about it real quick. Didn't really pay much attention. But bottom line, yeah, it's feminist ideology along with Democratic policy that is creating these public terrorists that's terrorizing everybody. And of course, all the Democrats will come back and yell about, take damn mosquito, man. I need to light some citronella coil. So I'll do here after this, And of course, all the Democrats will do is talk about, hey, let's take away guns. let's take away, instead of saying, hey, let's go back and review our democratic policies that was passed in the 70s, that is now, the chickens come home to roost. But no, they're talking about let's get rid of guns. Let's not go back and review the policies that were put in place that created these terrorists. Because believe me, these school shooting, these kids, these boys, come from these single mother household, or these household where the dads or they call them absentee dads. The dad is there, but he doesn't care. He's either high on drugs, drunk all the time, beating the wife all the time, or mostly they come from single mother households. So they don't want to address, hey, what type of household are these boys coming from? And then of course the Democrats are always talking about, we already have universal background check, but they also want to add, psychological background check. And yes, when you do apply for you do go buy a gun and then you fill out the form, there is a questionnaire that says, have you ever been diagnosed with a psychological or mental disorder? Psychological or mental disorder, you would check yes or no. Of course, if you're Norman Bates, you're still going to check no. So that one kind of is depending on the person to kind of tell on themselves. But I guess what I'm getting at here, before I close it out, is that the think so. I don't say the diagnostic mental. The is it the DMS? I think it's called, yeah, the psychological diagnostic mental disorder, or DMD, whatever that book is that the psychologist comes out with, where they add or remove psychological disorders. Because in the 70s, because what the Democrats wants to do is put your safety, your ability to get a gun in the hands of a group of people who's been known to abuse their power when given to them, like in the 70s, 60s and 70s, when they had all of those asylums which are now closed. There was one case in New York where there was like 7,000 boys, and the doctors, the psychologists, the doctors there were getting money for each boy that was institutionalized. And to be institutionalized, all a family member had to do was say, "Hey, Bobby here's crazy." That was pretty much it, and Bobby would be institutionalized, or for the doctor to say, "Hey, I think Bobby's crazy." That's all it took, and you would be institutionalized, and they would make money off of you. So as long as you were there, the doctor was making money. Of course, it caught on. The Fed caught on to it. You know, they started closing all of these asylums. So there's very well, actually today they're calling them mental hospitals. They're not called asylums anymore. Yeah, there are still some mental hospitals that are open today. There's no asylum, I guess, in quotation. I really like this flat flame lighter. Now for a bigger gauge cigar, like a 55 or 60, yeah, you probably want to use a dual or a triple torch lighter. Let me remove this band. Yeah, not a fan of fancy bands. This is a small band. It is fancy. These cigars are not cheap, by the way. Run you about $10 each, $10 to $15 each, depending on which cut. If it's a Churchill, Corona, or of course, bigger ones. Churchills are going to be more expensive, but not always. It's just kind of weird. It's money, no? Yeah, and on top of that, in order to get these boys institutionalized, they had to add all of these, they had to add all of these psychosis or all of these mental disorders into the I think it's DMD, DMS, DMC, the diagnostic mental disorder. I forgot what that book's called. It's DM something. Those of you who are into psychology, you probably know which book I'm talking about. Because and of course the what's that? I think it's AOD, the attention AD. I think it's AD, attention deficit disorder. No, they put that in there. No, mainly for boys, and that's put millions of boys who were just being boys on medication. I know my brother and sister both, because parents can tell the doctor, no, I don't want to put my kid on AD medication. So I know my brother, for his son, they were like, hey, your son is boys will be boys. They're overactive, overhyper, especially when they're young. Now that he's older, my nephew, he's calmed down. He didn't have to take any AD medication, nothing. Same with my sister's son. Now, in some cases, especially parents who are on welfare, if you put your kid on that medication, you get money. It's something like $300-400 a month. that the government gives you money as for like, you know, treatment medication purpose. So for some people, putting a monetary monetary gain. So yeah, things like that, and you know, 5 years ago, they decided that, you know, people who trans people are no longer part of the body dysmorphia. I'm thinking, okay, so you have a sex organ that you want to cut out. To me, that's no different than someone saying, hey, this arm does not belong with this body, I want it cut off. But they remove that, and they reassigned it as a gender dysmorphia, which is not even a psychological disorder. So no, I don't trust a group of people who's always changing their minds on a whim to tell the mass public what they can and cannot do. I don't trust this psychological evaluation, because these group of psychologists who write that DM, let's see, I'll look it up. And put in the type into the video. Yeah, so we're trusting these folks who can't make up their minds to tell us what we can and cannot when it comes to gun, can and cannot purchase. Because again, psychological disorders are changing all the time, and there are some psychological disorders that are put in there just for the purpose of making money. So well, I'll end the video here, finish off the cigar. This is it's a pretty sizable cigar. Of course, if I wasn't yakking, I'd probably be almost done with this cigar, but overall good cigar. Check it out. Not the cheapest of cigar, but it's definitely worth the price. And with that, thank you guys, and until next week's video, if I get this uploaded by next week.